Okay. Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Doing all right, making it through.
Amen. So may I ask you, please tell us your name?
Yeah, I'm Chris Simmons, and I'm a rising junior at Duke, obviously, and studying public policy with a markets and management certificate as well as a minor in cultural anthropology. I'm from Los Angeles. I have a brother who's a senior who's going to American now. Um, and yeah, I'm just doing the best I can to stay with family and trying to enjoy as much time as we got in this quarantine and hopefully get back to school soon.
Absolutely. Well, that's very good to know. So, did you did you're a rising junior? So I lost you in March, didn't I, of this year?
Yeah.
So, did your school semester end early, or did just went to remote learning and you stayed on campus? How did that work?
Yeah. So I did not stay on campus. I came back home, and then we just did remote stuff from there. But it was really definitely out of the ordinary, obviously, and it wasn't too bad because we didn't have too much school left.
Mhm.
But yeah, we just did stuff online. Like it was like my room turned into my workspace, also my room at the same time, and like places. And I was just trying to learn Zoom and all that stuff, and just making sure I was on mute was a big deal. But yeah, it was just I definitely messed up sometimes. But yeah,
I
just
believe
remote stuff.
you can teach some people at the university now how Zoom works. Now you might want to hire yourself out as a Zoom consultant.
Maybe we'll see. I definitely because my parents are both on it. My mom's figuring like she's like all big on the backgrounds, and I'm like, like it's
Yeah,
fine. But I helped her with that.
yeah. Well, there you go. Like I said, a Zoom consultant. Don't forget to put that on your resume when you're writing it.
Amen, amen.
So, let me ask you this. So, tell us a little bit about your study. So, what is it that you're going to do with what you define for us as your major and your certificate? What do you hope to do with that?
Well, I major in public policy, and one of the big things I do outside of campus is I'm a manager for the men's basketball team. So obviously, I'm still majoring in public policy, and my markets and management is something I've been taking very seriously as well. But I hope after life after Duke would be to work somewhere in sports. I majored in public policy honestly, really because of how interdisciplinary of a major it was, and how like I just wanted to learn more about something that I wasn't really interested in as much during my high school career, and I definitely wanted to like branch out and not just major in econ or something like that. But yeah, I definitely hope like after to use whatever knowledge I've learned from whether that be from just like microeconomics and macroeconomics to the politics of the public sector, just to I hope to work in some sort of sports field, not as an agent, but like as some sort of in some sort of like exec role in the sports business.
So that means you're not going back to school immediately after you graduate. You're not going to go seek a doctorate or a master's or.
Yeah, not yet. I hope to work a couple of years or something and then come back for my MBA soon. So, but that's in my plans.
Excellent. Very, very good. Now, how did you become the men's basketball coach? Now, tell us what that means.
Well, it's just they hire around like 3 or 4 student managers per year, and it's just a pretty rigorous competitive application process. Just I mean, I was a basketball player in high school and was looking at various D3 options, but once I got into Duke, I knew I was going to come to Duke and go to Duke, obviously. But I wanted to be like I've always been a part of a team throughout my entire life. Like I started playing sports since I was 4, and being a part of a team has always been something that helps me with my academics, honestly, because when you're a part of a team, it's when you have practice, you got to make sure you're on your stuff because you have practice and you have other things to do. You have games and you don't have that much time to do whatever, So I always found that I honestly did better when I was in season.
Mhm.
So I was just looking for that team aspect. And yeah, so then I just found I was at the club fair like first month freshman year. And then I just found the managers and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try this out because at first I was like, I don't want to be a manager because I managed my high school team and like what they would do is like wipe Gatorade and like wipe the sweat and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't really know if I want to do that.
Right.
But what I learned from talking with like the older managers of that year before like I applied was that there's so much more that goes into being a manager for Duke. There's so many more. It's like you're really a part of the whole operations of the team, and it's not just wiping sweat stuff. It's planning for road trips. It's all these other things that really, all these other like tasks that are done in a high pressure environment that help prepare you for your life after Duke.
Yeah. And do you get to travel? You go to every game wherever they go?
Yes. Yeah.
Well,
So that's been really cool.
Yeah, that sounds very, very good. So that means you've been to some very interesting and exciting places, huh?
Exactly. And definitely coming in with Zion and stuff was crazy. It was the whole thing was just ridiculous. But yeah, it's been fun so far, and I'm definitely hoping to get back soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we don't know what this pandemic is going to do, but we'll see. What they're doing with the NBA seems a bit strange to me. Even all the professional sports trying to come back, trying to give people sports, because I guess sports is such an integral part of people's lives, to be able to see that. But it also is very dangerous too, considering this disease is killing people and killing them out quickly.
Exactly.
Okay. So, what is it like to be a Black male student at Duke University? Can you describe that feeling and that space and how you navigate that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think when I answer that question, I think I just want to see like what's being a Black man in general. I think it's just work basically. It's always having to overcompensate and sort of overthink things. And that's definitely what my parents have taught me, just because we know and they've experienced and I've experienced how things are different if you're Black, regardless. It doesn't matter if you're with your white counterparts, your white friends. Like I've had various experiences where here's one example. It was a year ago, and some of my friends wanted to go to the beach at night, and I usually keep my parents like in the loop, and this was like early on freshman year, so like I was keeping them in the loop for stuff, and they wanted to go to the beach at night, and I was ready to go. I was like, this doesn't really feel like anything, and then so like I, for some reason, texted my parents and was like, yeah, we think about going to the beach like at night, and I immediately get a call, and they're like, no, because, and then that's like I was at the time I was like a little frustrated. I was like, well, why can't I go like be with my friend? Like, what's going on? And then I just remembered like just it's really just work and understand and things that other people don't have to face. You have to understand and think about.
Right.
And something as simple as just going to the beach at night, like things happen. When they happened, my mom's friend, is what she told me. She said they weren't paying attention and something tragic happened to one of my mom's friend's sons. So like, and then that just happened. So I think just being a Black man at Duke and being a Black man in general, like obviously intertwined. And I think it's just a lot of work, but it's just how it is,
Yeah. Do you have any fears or concerns of moving about? Los Angeles is a long way from North Carolina, two different cultures, different kinds of ways we think about things. But when you're in North Carolina and when you're in Los Angeles, do you have any concerns or fears about what has happened to some of the other Black men for random reasons? It's not really clear why.
Oh, yes, I definitely do. I still remember I've been pulled over once for a broken taillight that wasn't broken. Like, I know it wasn't, And I just remember that it's something I've been telling my friends a lot, especially when it was going on, my white friends who've been reaching out and stuff. Like, it's when I see the police, it's like, oh, like, like it's like my heart's like, all right. Like, I know I'm not doing anything wrong, but like, what are they going to tell me I'm doing wrong?
Right.
And that's, for me, it's like, and what was eye-opening for them was that how they see the police as people who protect them. Like, I don't know if I see that in the same way, just because I've seen so many things happen and so many tragic things happen to these types of people. So I guess that's honestly the most fearful for me, is just not knowing if like, that's why for my family, it's always good, like, make sure you get home. Like, not, like, knowing you're safe when you get back home, because you never know what happens when you're driving out there and people just might want to pull you over for no reason, and then things can get evasive for no reason, and then stuff happens. But yeah, I mean, I still remember that to this day, and everything went fine, thankfully. But I've learned I knew what to do. My parents prepared me for like what I should do, hands on the steer, obviously, everything like that. But yeah, it's just a different feeling. Even if I see a police car, I'm going one way, but they're going that way. It's like I always look in the back and like, are they gonna make this U-turn? Like, seriously, that's what I think about.
Right.
And it's kind of crazy, but that's just how sometimes it is.
Absolutely.
It's horrible.
And it really is. It really, really is. So, based on what you said about when you told your parents you were going to the beach, you had that conversation, right? So the conversation that most Black parents have with their sons and daughters, you know, about how to be safe, how to go and live your life and come home safely, right? So wherever home is, whether you're coming back to Duke or whether you're going to Los Angeles or wherever you're going, can you move about the world safely and come back home? So we all have those conversations with our kids. And when we tell our white counterparts about those conversations, like, really? Why would you have that conversation? You know, like, what the police are great. They're not going to hurt you. And then you have to point to all these instances where young Black men who were just minding their business are not with us anymore. You know, I mean, the young fellow who was jogging to a construction site. I mean, my husband and I have been married a long time, but I remember when we first got married, we used to love to ride around new neighborhoods to see the houses that are being built. And we think about that now, we would never do that. You know, we would just feel some kind of way. And I mean, I think that's an unfortunate thing for Black people to have to manage that as well as everything else, right? So our health, you know, so Black and brown people are more exposed and more at risk for COVID, you know, so you've got all these kind of things they're laden upon us. And we're trying somehow or another to figure out how to survive in a world where we are seen as less than human.
Exactly. That's definitely a thing. And the jogging thing comes to mind for me as well, just because I like to, so obviously during the early quarantine, when things were even more shut down than they were now, I was like trying to find ways to obviously stay as active as possible, and just like, you know, and running and jogging was one of the things that I was doing. Mm-hmm. And I even saw this other thing with Jay Farrow, who like got by a police. And when I run, I wear my headphones like he does, so like you don't really hear much. And nothing's happened to me, thank God. But it just like for the 2 weeks after the Ahmaud Arbery thing happened, I used to like jog around my block, like jog around my neighborhood and go a little further, you know. But after that happened, I was like, nah, I'm staying like right in front of my house. Like I'll run back and forth like a suicide or something, right, through my neighbor, like just my street, like just back and forth, because I'm not trying to do this. And it was just crazy for me to even think about how something as simple as jogging is like going to cause this, you know?
Right. Yep, absolutely. And I think to your point, you know, it's like you don't know what the trigger point is, right? So you don't know what it is going to cause somebody to react the way it is. So I have to ask, did you see the Mr. Floyd's video? Did you watch it?
Yes, I did.
What was your thoughts or reactions?
I mean, it was just like I honestly had to stop watching at first, because I was thinking, like, if you think about how long 8 minutes and 46 seconds, like, you think about how long that is, like, to have your knee on someone's neck. And the worst part for me was just like, he was acting like there was nothing wrong. His hand was in his pockets. He was just, yeah, you know, like, whatever. And then the other officers were also just standing there too. Like, oh, we told him to try to get off, but like, we're not going to push. Like, you guys are supposed to protect and serve. That's what you're doing. And then, but you're not. Like, you're not protecting and serving. Like, if you guys are supposed to protect and serve, you're supposed to push him off. If he's not moving up, like, you guys have the power to push him off. And just, I couldn't, the first time I watched it, I couldn't bear to finish watching, because I hear him calling for his mom. Like, it's just, I know the pavement's so hot. Like, it's like, And then I was like, I didn't even know what he did. Like, I didn't even know what he did at first because they just didn't say it. And I don't even know. And that's that first, once the video came out, then there was like, my parents literally called me and my brother down. Like, it was a whole night long conversation, obviously, conversation that we have basically every day. And that's also another thing that you were saying about how being black in Duke and being black in America is just having to have these conversations every day because things don't stop anymore.
Right.
It doesn't, things haven't gone away. So we still have to constantly have those conversations that sometimes white people don't have to.
Right. Absolutely. And I think that maybe in your instance, you may be in a little bit more of a bubble too, because you're with the basketball team. So you're not, out there and all about, and maybe some of the things, microaggressions and comments and things like that other students would hear, you would not hear because of your relationship to the basketball team and the importance of that to the university. So going back to Mr. Floyd, so there's been an outrage, so everybody's been protesting and doing things and kind of trying to get things done. We've heard they're tearing down monuments and they're Washington Redskins going to rename themselves, and you got all these things happening. Do you think that's progress, and do you think it is sustainable?
Yeah, I think that's twofold. I think it's progress. I obviously think it's progress, but it makes me sort of think like it's obviously progress for the right reasons, but it's also progress for the wrong reasons, especially for, like, I've been really following, obviously I'm into sports, so I've been really following this Washington football team.
Right.
And the fact that it took until now to change the name, and for me, it's just like, the Redskins owner, Dan Snyder, said in 2012, this isn't
will never change. Right.
Yeah. All caps. Like, I'm never going to change. Like, this is 2012. This is not like, this name has been a part of it since 1933. And the previous owner was a segregationist who didn't want to integrate the team until the NFL made him integrate the team. Right. So, I mean, obviously, I think this is progress in terms of we're getting towards a more equitable world, and changing the names is definitely important to that. But I think, especially for the Redskins, changing the name just seems like it's just too late, like too much, too little, too late. And like, obviously we need to change it, but it's like, all right, guys, like, this finally happened. Like, now the whole world is behind this movement. So now we have to change it, instead of back before when people were still talking about it, but just wasn't getting as much traction. And it just seems like a money play to me as well too, like, in terms of more than progress, just because, like, if FedEx is coming out, if like all your investors are coming out saying we're not going to be a part of this, then yeah, you're probably going to change the name, but yeah, I do. Other than the Washington team, like, that gets me a little bit. But other than that, I think there is progress. This is progress. And I obviously think that while it's very weird, because I talk to people about this, like, it's very weird how the pandemics have been happening as well as social unrest. And I think while the pandemic has obviously been a horrible occurrence for, like, the world, it's allowed people to focus in more on this movement, this social injustice movement in general, and not just gloss over it like normally. It'd be like a couple weeks on the news and then people would go back to normal. But I've really even seen, even my social media feeds, like, a real sustained effort in people not trying to forget, whether that be Breonna Taylor's, like, anyone's name, not trying to forget it at all, and we got to keep pushing, especially with an election coming up.
Absolutely. I want to read something to you if I can find it. I just want to know what your thoughts are. So much junk around me, I can't ever keep up with anything, but hopefully I can find this. I want to read this to you. I just want to know what your thoughts are about this. I'm going to leave certain parts of this out so the person who wrote this won't be discovered, but I want to read this. I am an alum and a current faculty member. Coming back to my university as a Black student and a faculty member is a lonely experience. While I was a student, I had my fellow students tell me to my face that I did not deserve to be at my university. They had already decided the only reason I was at my university was because I was Black. It didn't matter that I'd earned my way into this university the same way they did. It didn't matter that I'd earned a merit-based scholarship to attend. It didn't matter that I had chosen this university over other Ivy Leagues. It only mattered to them that I was Black. That meant I could not have earned my way into this university. The worst part of this is these were not random people. They were people who, up until then, I believed to be my friends. Being Black at this university is demoralizing. It means that every accomplishment that you have achieved is worthless. As a Black faculty member at this university, I feel isolated. At UNC, they have a Black faculty caucus. Where's that at my university? If it exists, I haven't been able to connect to it. And if it does exist, why is it in the shadows while UNC's is public? I challenge you to answer these questions and reflect on what it means for Black faculty at this university. What did you hear in that letter?
Well, the main thing I heard was, I think things that happen a lot is, well, you didn't get this. You only got this because of affirmative action. You only got this because you're Black. And that's definitely something that I've had to deal with as well. And it's just, it might not be strictly like verbal, but it's just like the insinuation where people are like, well, you probably had lesser test scores. Well, I'm like, no, I didn't. Like, oh, what did you do? Like, you know, like you didn't, it's not, it was easier for you to get in. Like, I don't think it really was. I mean, I worked just as hard as you, and I might even have better like stats or whatever, like extracurriculars than you did in the first place.
Right.
And that's definitely been something for me that I've had to deal with, just because it's like people not thinking that you deserve it as much as they do.
Right.
Just because you're getting in because you have to fill a quota or something like that.
Right.
And that's the main thing I got from that. And I agree with that. Like, I feel that sometimes. And it's tough, but like I that's just how people are. I mean, it's always like, well, you got in because you're Black. Like, you got in because of affirmative. You got in because of this. Like, how about we all got in together? Like, I got in just as much. I have just as much of a spot here as you. And regardless if like you come off the wait list or something like that, like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're still in.
Right.
I don't know. That's definitely what I got from that. And it's like, it's just really tough to see that happen, even at like in a faculty like stage, you know? And as people who are supposed to be older, smarter, wiser, like understanding the world more, and you still feel that way, shows how much of a problem you still have, and it's work we have to do.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, if it's bad for faculty and students, you can't imagine what it's like for staff.
Yeah, exactly.
We are persona non grata. You know, you just get rid of us. You don't need us. You know, we're expendable. You know, they need you to come and pay your money, and they need the faculty to teach. But for the rest of us, we're just like, well, any day now, you know, we're going to replace you, or we're not going to pay you, or whatever it is. But so there's that. Okay, so my next question is, and I'm going to give you the rest of the time. My next question is, so what are your thoughts about the November elections?
Well, I mean, obviously, first thing comes to mind is we need to get the person who is in office right now out, just because I can't, like, for me, I'm like, I don't really understand. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. Like, I try to be as open as possible, but if you really support this person who's in office, like, I don't know if I can even really talk to you, like, be even acquainted. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Some of the, like, even before I was like, all right, this guy is pretty crazy. But like, some of the things he's saying now is like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? But yeah, that aside, we need to get him out. And I just think, but also people have to understand how we're not just voting for the president. There's other things we're voting for as well.
Right.
So that's also important, like state and local levels that are also important. And I just think for me, I affiliate with Democratic Party. So, but I, as a Los Angeles or California, but I'm registered in North Carolina, just because I know that it's more important. It's more of a swing state, North Carolina, than California, more or less. So that's what I've been focusing on, trying to because I know a good amount of people from California, who go to Duke, and trying to encourage them to not be registered in California, but be in North Carolina, just so that our vote matters. And it's just for a lot of the young people who, obviously, there's a lot of stats that have come out that have said, well, Trump won this state in 2016, and then like there's like hundreds of thousands of Black young people and Black people who didn't vote. And then it's like, he only won by this amount, and there's like 3 times the amount of Black people in this state who didn't vote. And then it shows you how he won this state. Because people, even me included, like, people were like, he's not going to win. Like, this is not going to happen. Like, come on, people are rational, right? Like, but no. And then when you don't vote, that's what happens. So I think obviously biggest thing for this November is vote and understand who and what you're voting for, because obviously, like, and don't vote for Kanye. Like, please God, do not vote for Kanye. No, thank you. That's gonna just like, no, I can't believe it. But yeah, just vote, understand who you're voting for at the state and local levels, who are gonna help make your directly your lives better, because those people matter too, and it's not just about who's gonna be like in the Oval Office.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. That's very good to hear. Reason why I asked you that question is because I've heard a lot of young people say, the candidate that they wanted to be the president is no longer a presumptive nominee, so they aren't going to vote. And it's just amazing trying to get that mindset out. So if you wanted Bernie, you don't have him. If you wanted Elizabeth Warren, you don't have him. So your choice is Kanye or that one that's in there right now. I won't say his name. Or the Democratic candidate, it's just simply that, so November can't get it enough.
Please, we all have to work together here, man.
Absolutely.
Our time.
All right, so you have about 4 minutes, all yours, whatever you want to talk about, and I'll just listen.
Oh, okay. I guess last thing, one thing I watched over obviously this quarantine is I don't know if you've seen the Dave Chappelle special.
Yes.
It's called that was something that definitely is still stuck with me, just because of how I knew Dave Chappelle is just this funny guy who's just gonna do whatever, and just like have fun with it. And like obviously he started the thing a little funny, but then after like it quickly turned like really, really deep. And I just really thought that was a beautiful, like, really passionate piece that he did, and I encourage anyone else to watch it who watches this or whatever. But yeah, that was definitely something that opened my eyes to just how much this hits everyone, and how it's not just it's more than it goes into people's professions. Like Dave Chappelle is obviously a comedian, but he's spending his time willing to set aside a time to talk about this. It goes into like same thing with basketball players and sports players who are coming out and not letting them they're not going to just shut up and dribble as someone told LeBron to do.
Right.
They're actually going to do the opposite. Like
right.
they're going to put the names on the back of their jerseys. They're going to not let this movement go away, even though sports are going to happen again. And I think that's very important, how we have to start to integrate, like, even though these conversations are hard, and I know they're hard, but you have to start integrating them into your daily lives, into your workplaces, because we can't forget about them, because it's with us now. Like, there's no more brushing it off the table and stuff. Like, it's with us now, and I just think seeing how people of these statures are still talking about it in their like jobs or work shows how important this is to the world, and how important this is to our society, and how important this is to them as well. But yeah, that was just it. The Dave Chappelle thing was very compelling to me.
Okay, so that gave me one other question to ask. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No.
Colin Kaepernick,
mm-hmm.
When he kneeled back then, did you think that was unpatriotic? What did you think about that?
No way. Also, shameless plug right here. I've been doing research with a professor, Dr. Silvia Almeida, as well as Professor John French. I was in this Black Lives Matter class that's supposed to be Brazil and USA during this past semester with a visiting professor. So I've been doing research, and one of the main people I've been doing research on, because I'm helping do the sports and protests in the Black Lives Matter movement in both Brazil and the US. But yeah, one of the main people I've been researching is obviously Colin Kaepernick, and seeing how it's been going. And no, that's what the media and that's what the guy in office tried to change the narrative into, which is how so many things have happened. This is what he's doing, but like, let's say it's this so that we can make him feel less important. Like, it was never, it was really, if you read it, it was never about the flag. He said, I'm not going to stand for a flag that that oppresses black people. It was never about like it's about the oppression of black people and about how police have been killing black people for hundreds of years. It was never about, yeah, no, I'm not about like, it was never about that. And even a bigger story that I found was that at first he was sitting down. The first time he ever did it, he sat down. But then a former Green Beret and like football player came up to him and told him that sitting down was actually disrespectful to the flag, but instead he should have kneeled. Right. So he kneeled. And this is a Green Beret telling him. This is a person who fought for our country. So that it was never unpatriotic, and it's never been about the flag. And then Drew Brees' comments also were just really like not right, because you knew that I expected Drew Brees to be someone who's in tune with the whole thing. And when he came out with that, it got me very angry, because it's like, it was never about the flag. It was really never about the flag. It's just always just about police oppressing black people and just black people being oppressed in this country in general.
Yeah. And where he is right now, so I understand he just signed a deal with Disney, and you know, they've been. I think Roger Goodell finally said, you know, he can play again or something. I don't remember what the exact language.
He said he wanted to. He hopes the team sign him, but like, you don't know that.
Why would he do that? What was in it for him? Because I mean, like, football's hard on your body, you know, and he's already successful. He's made his mark. You know, he's made our fight visible for a lot of people who wouldn't have necessarily heard it. You know, so I don't see why he would do that. I mean, maybe he might want to play football, so maybe there's some love of the game there. But I would just say the game.
I think there's that, and he obviously just wants to. I think he just wants to show. I think he just wants to show the owners who pushed him out of the league when he was in his prime, after he'd taken a team to the Super Bowl, that like, yo, I'm not just gonna leave, like, because you guys tell me to leave, because I'm trying to protest like peacefully. And yeah, I think he just wants one more opportunity if possible, just to show that he says he's staying ready, and he just got wrongfully pushed out of the league, in his opinion, and in my opinion as well. So I think, obviously football, you're getting beat up and stuff, but I think he wants to show. He wants to show them that he should never have been kicked out of the league.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Chris, for having this chat with me.
Subscribe
to my channel and tell other people to come talk with me, because these kind of voices need to be heard. And I mean, like, you know, like, people who have a big platform, they can talk about this and all, but the people that are in the trenches really don't have this kind of platform. So that's what these chats are about, for people who are, you know, these things are affecting us every day, right? So that's what this is. Subscribe to my channel, you know, invite other people to come talk with me, and then once this video converts, I'll send you a link so you can look at it. If you agree with it, we'll upload it. If not, we can do it over or not do it at all.
Perfect. Yeah, no, thank you so much for this. I'll definitely keep everyone in the know, and I'll let as many people know as possible. But yes, thank you for having me, Dr. Noonan. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I'm so happy that you were mine for a little while. I'm sad that I've lost you, but I'm always in your life no matter what. So, you know.
Of course. Yeah. And I'll obviously keep you posted. I still have you posted on my thing, so you can still see my grades. Absolutely. So keep me on track.
Yes, sir. I absolutely will. Take care. Be safe. And I wish you and your family all the best.
You as well. Thank you very much. Have a nice rest of your day.
You do the same. Bye-bye.